Hi, I'm Annabelle. I am a rising junior at Dalton. So for my project, I made a pot that has this LED strip going around it that lights up different colors depending on how hot the pot is. So there's water in here that I'm going to start to boil, and I'm going to demonstrate it as I speak with my video. So turn this on. So it takes a second to warm up. Alright, so this is blue, which is the coldest. It goes from blue, which is at its coldest state, to red at the hottest. The hottest is boiling water. So my last milestone where I left off was I had all my circuitry working, like the LED and the temperature sensor and the Arduino. It was all working how it should, except it was on a breadboard. So the first thing I did after that was I soldered it all together onto a proto board. And I faced a problem there because for some reason the whole thing, it didn't work when it was just hooked up to the battery. Like I had a battery and I made it turn on the LED strip and the Arduino, but it wouldn't, something was wrong, it wouldn't turn on. It would only work when the Arduino was plugged into the computer and getting the, power from the computer. So I figured that maybe my battery wasn't fully charged. So I recharged my battery and it still wasn't working, and I tested my connections and they were all correct. Like the battery was supplying 12 volts and everything was getting the right connection, everything was fine, except it still wasn't working unless it was plugged into the computer. So I decided to just start over. So I took the whole thing apart, got a new proto board, got new transistors and resistors and all that stuff, and I just re-soldered everything together. And it was pretty much fine, but when I tried to connect the battery to the Arduino, I needed to put the wire from the battery into the raw pin on the Arduino, except for some reason they weren't sticking. And then I realized that the contact on that raw pin had melted away, or it wasn't there or something. So that pin was shot and I couldn't use it anymore, which is a problem considering that there's no replacement pin on that board. So I had to switch from the Pro Micro Arduino to the Arduino Nano. So I rehooked it up so that it worked with the Nano, but when I was trying to upload my code onto that device, the computer couldn't find the USB. So I needed to install a better VCP driver. And once I had done that, it did work. And so my next step was to modify the code, because at that point it just went from when it was blue when it was this cold, and it was red when it was this hot. So I decided that I wanted to make it blue, yellow, red, and it would gradually change from those three. But in order to do that, I used the map function for the Arduino. But once I had written that code, I realized that the LED wasn't turning the color that it was supposed to turn based on the temperature. So I tried a lot of debugging and nothing worked. So I decided instead to not use the map function and just use a bunch of if statements, which say when it's in this temperature range, be blue. When it's this temperature range, be teal. When it's this temperature range, be this like weird green yellow, which it is right now. And so it goes from blue all the way to red that way. So once I had done all of that, uploaded that to the Arduino Nano, I had to work on getting it attached to the pot itself. So what I used was Teflon, which is a heat-resistant substance that it's under this LED. It's a white cushy thing, and so I glued it to the pot using glue that can withstand temperatures up to 550 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I took the LED strip and I glued that onto the Teflon. Then I had to get all my circuitry into one place that can't be accessed by the heat. So I put it into this box here. And this is a heat-resistant box, so the stuff can't overheat in there. And I had to drill holes in the box so I could expose the switch and expose the thermocouple wire and the LED. I brought that out of the holes, glued it onto the pot, and then to attach the box to the handle was kind of tough because it's a pretty big box, it's pretty heavy. So I had to I had this really thick wire that is also heat proof, and so I took 4 strands of the wire and glued them from either side of the box to make a little basket out of it, which then I glued just for reinforcement to the handle, and then I painted the box on top to make it look nicer. And that's pretty much it. But in the future, what I would do with this to eliminate this huge box, which makes it look pretty ugly, I would have to design my own pot, and how I would do that would be to make the handle out of this heat-resistant material so that I could put all the circuitry into the handle like that, and then I could have the LEDs just coming up in the back going straight into the handle, and same with the thermocouple wire. So then it would just be maybe a slightly larger handle than normal, but everything would be far enough away from the heat source so that it wouldn't heat, plus it would be covered in a heat-resistant material, and the switch would still turn it on and off, and the switch would probably be near the base of the handle. So, thanks, Blue Stem.